All right, today we're doing something a little different. We are not looking at a stock chart, we are auditing a business. And our guide for this whole process, the principles right here from this book, Buffett and Munger's Accounting Mastery. We're going to take its wisdom and apply it to one of the biggest companies in the world, Microsoft. So you look at Microsoft stock, right? It's trading for about $430 a share. That's its price. But as Warren Buffett famously said, price is what you pay, value is what you get. And those two things, they can be worlds apart. So our job today is to forget about the price tag for a minute and try to figure out what the actual business is worth. So let's put on our auditor hats. Using the book as our guide, we're going to ask three really simple but incredibly powerful questions. Number one, is this business actually generating cash? Two, are the people in charge making smart decisions with that cash? And three, the big one, is it a good buy right now? Now, to answer that first question, the one about cash, we've got to turn to Chapter 5 of Accounting Mastery. You see, inside every company's financial report, there are two characters telling a story, and you have to know which one to trust. So, allow me to introduce you to the poet and the teller. The poet is net income. That's the official profit number you hear on the news. It tells a beautiful story, often very flattering. But the teller, well, that's cash flow. And that is the brutal, honest truth of how much actual cash went into or out of the bank. We always listen to the teller. And for Microsoft right now, the poet and the teller are telling two completely different stories. I mean, just look at this gap. The poet is singing a song about $38.5 billion in profit last quarter. Sounds incredible, doesn't it? But then the teller steps up to the mic and says, hold on a second. The actual cash that hit the bank account? Only $5.9 billion. That massive difference isn't just a curiosity, it's a huge blinking red flag for any auditor. So where on earth did over $30 billion in cash vanish? It went here, capital expenditures, or what we call CapEx. This is the money a company spends on huge physical things. For Microsoft, that means building these giant data centers for AI. We're talking land, buildings, servers, all of it. Buffett has a perfect name for this, the CapEx treadmill. It's when you have to keep spending billions just to stay in the same place. And it can really wear a business out. Let's think about it this way. Imagine you own a pizza shop, and on paper, you're making a nice profit. But to keep up with the competition, you have to buy a brand new, ridiculously expensive oven every single month. It doesn't matter how many pizzas you sell, your bank account is always empty. This is kind of the new reality for Microsoft. A company that used to be about pure, high-margin software is starting to look a lot more like a utility company, just pouring billions into hardware to fuel its AI dreams. And this massive spending spree brings us right to our second question. Are the leaders making smart decisions? I mean, why are they spending tens of billions on these data centers? Is there a clear path to profit here, or is something else going on? Chapter 11 of the book warns us to look at the psychology behind these big money decisions. You know, Charlie Munger warned about this all the time. He said that even the smartest people fall for social proof, which is really just a fancy way of saying peer pressure. Think about it. You've got Google, Amazon, and Meta, all in this huge AI spending arms race. If Microsoft suddenly stopped, they'd look like they were falling behind, right? And this leads to what Munger called the institutional imperative, this powerful pull for companies to just copy what their competitors are doing, whether it makes logical sense or not. And the real danger here is when you're spending billions out of fear, the fear of missing out, instead of spending it with confidence that you're going to get a great return. That's not a strategy. That is a very, very risky gamble. So this is the trillion-dollar question, isn't it? Microsoft is betting everything that we, the customers, are going to happily pay a premium for AI services forever. But what if AI just becomes a commodity? What if it becomes a basic utility, something that's just as free and expected as email is today? If that happens, all those billions they poured into data centers could become a write-off of historic proportions. Okay, so all of that brings us to our final and maybe most important question. Is Microsoft a good buy right now? To answer that, we have to talk about intrinsic value. So forget the stock price. The intrinsic value is what the business itself is truly worth. It's all the cash it's expected to give back to its owners over its entire life. It's the get in Buffett's price is what you pay, value is what you get. The book teaches that you're always buying in one of three zones. Zone 1, that's the sweet spot, below value. This is Buffett's famous margin of safety, where you're buying $1 of value for, say, 60 cents. Zone 2 is fair value. You pay $1, you get $1 worth of business. It's fine, but it's no bargain. And then there's zone 3, the danger zone. Overvalued. That's where you're paying $1.50 for that same dollar of value.
So after our little audit, where does Microsoft land? Well, with the stock price way up past $400 and its cash flow getting eaten alive by that CapEx treadmill, the principles from accounting mastery all point to one conclusion. We are deep in zone 3. The current price isn't just optimistic. It's paying for a future where that massive AI bet has to play out perfectly.
Now, let's be crystal clear. Does this mean Microsoft is a bad company? No, absolutely not. It is a fantastic business with a huge competitive moat. We all depend on Office and their cloud services. But here's the key takeaway from the book. A great company is not always a great investment. Even the best business in the world becomes a really risky bet if you pay way too much for it. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one last tool from Chapter 10. It is just the ultimate litmus test for figuring out if a company's leadership is actually creating value for you or just running in place. It's called the $1 test. And it is so beautifully simple. For every single dollar of profit that a company keeps to reinvest in itself, that's a dollar they don't give to you, the shareholder, that dollar has one job. Its one job is to create at least one new dollar of market value for the company. If it can't do that, then management is actually destroying your value, not creating it. Right now, Microsoft is keeping pretty much every dollar of cash it generates and pouring it into this AI arms race. They are asking you, the owner, to trust them. So the final question is this: are they passing the $1 test? As an informed auditor, your job now is to watch the teller, to watch that cash flow number like a hawk. Because if that number doesn't start growing to justify the mountain of cash they're spending, well, then you'll know they're feeling the test.